Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and today's show is presented by Manscaped. If there are any guys out there that had a lonely Valentine's Day, then you definitely need to go to manscaped.com, use code Raiders for 20% off and free shipping on the best male grooming products out there. Coming up here on today's show, I'm going to be ranking the top 10 defensive tackle free agent targets for the Las Vegas Raiders. These rankings are based on how good of a fit I think they would be in Patrick Graham's system, how much they would cost the silver and black, and then just overall how good of a player they are from top to bottom. Now, as it stands right now, the Raiders' current salary cap is $43.37 million. That is according to Over the Cap. It's the 11th most in the National Football League. And Las Vegas does have several different needs that they're going to have to at least be able to keep in mind. Me personally, I think the biggest need for Las Vegas is defensive tackle. That is not quarterback. And if I'm going to allocate my money, I want to allocate my money and go out and get a big name DT. So out of all the free agent videos that I'll make, this one's the one I'm the most passionate about because I feel like I have been pounding my fist on the freaking table saying the Raiders need to sign a big name DT. And if they do, we're going to be going live here on this show. And only true Raider fans who want the latest news and rumors, hit that subscribe button. Where are my real ones at? If you're a real one, spam RO4L and tell everybody else why they should join the family here. We're not just a YouTube channel. At the end of the day, I care just like all y'all. I want the Raiders to win, and I believe it starts with the big guys up the middle. Let's go to number 10 here on the list. Teair Tart, who is coming off one of his better seasons, and anytime that I can find a defensive tackle, it's had some ties with some previous people, if you will. Like, he spent some time with Tennessee, then he's got Houston, 6'2", 304 pounds this past year with the Houston Texans, 24 tackles, a sack, 8 tackles for loss. I want the Raiders to build that defensive tackle wall to help take pressure off Tyree Wilson, to help free up your edge rushers, but also, like, the way the Patrick Graham system works is if you can bring 4 and win, that's really, really good things. Maybe the top guy that I want the Raiders to bring back on the defensive side of the football is Adam Butler. And some people would say he's not even the best DT hit in the free agent market from the Raiders. A lot of people would say Bilal Nichols, but to me, I have Butler over Nichols because of the cost. Like, Nichols to me is probably going to be twice the amount of money of what Butler is, and what Adam Butler was able to do this past season really was probably your most underrated defensive player, especially on that D-line. He was having a great season. A lot of people were like, oh, he's just a Patriot dude. I'm telling you, he was a great, great fit in Patrick Graham's system. If you're able to bring him back on a team-friendly deal, I do think the Raiders should absolutely do it. Let's go to another guy back down in Houston, Sheldon Rankins, and this is a big boy. If you need somebody that's big on the interior that can be a solid run stopper, this is where Sheldon Rankins can probably be inserted into this lineup. And if you don't want to spend big, like if you're the Raiders and you're like, Mitch, I'm not going to spend big at the defensive tackle spot, I do think Rankins is an intriguing name, somebody that's been bounced around from a few different NFL teams. But also on top of that, like, Rankins isn't going to be a player that breaks the bank either. Like, would you rather sign Sheldon Rankins and like re-sign Adam Butler, which is going to be probably those two together is half the price is what it's going to cost to go get a guy like Christian Wilkins or something like that? Rankins is a good player that shows up every single season, and he's going to give you a solid 500 or 600 snaps every year. So is defensive tackle the Raiders' biggest offensive need this offseason? Give me a yes or give me a no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. Obviously, there's cornerback. Some people might say it's linebacker. Some people might say it's edge. For me, it's about the defensive tackle room. There is no doubt about it. Let's go to number 7 on my list. It's Fletcher Cox, and yes, he's getting up there in age, but if there has been one position that you have seen success with the longer and longer they go into their career, it's at the DT position. And if I'm Las Vegas, I'm not going to lie, I'm very, very intrigued here by Fletcher. Why? If John Jenkins can have a career year at age 34 years old with Rob Leonard, with Patrick Graham, if I'm going to take a shot on a 1-year prove-it deal with an older defensive tackle, it might be Fletcher Cox, man. Like, if you're looking for that mean tenacity, that dude that's just going to help out, inspire a defense, this is absolutely a player to keep in mind. And speaking of Cox, if you need your Fletcher to make sure it's looking good, go get started with Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, use code Raiders for 20% off and free shipping on all the best male grooming products out there. One of my favorite tools is the Lawnmower 5.0. This thing can literally do it all. It's got an unbelievable battery life, and one of my favorite things about it is you can see when you hold it, like how much battery I guess how much battery life, that's the word I was looking for, is left. Because how many guys out there, honest question, have you ever been shaving and halfway through you run out of battery? It's a shitty feeling. And I don't want that to happen to you. So whether you're going for a trim or that clean shaven look, this trimmer has you covered. Trusted by over 10 million men worldwide, now is your time to get a grip on your grooming with our exclusive offer. If you don't know how to get that exclusive offer, look down in the comments, look down in the description. It's manscaped.com. Code Raiders. Embrace a brand new you and definitely embrace a new trimmer courtesy of Manscaped. One of my favorite things that they also offer is the performance package. Like, they have all these different types of deals that you can get your hands on. So like this one comes with a carrying case. Like right now at the time you're watching this video, I'm in Paris right now, and guess what I have? My Manscaped traveling case, which has all my utensils in it, has everything that I need. And one of the things that I will never forget again was my weed whacker. It's like my nose hair trimmer. Pulling out a nose hair, you pull out one of those suckers, it's like instant you're tearing up. With the weed whacker, you can get up there. You don't got any annoying nose hairs. I know you guys see me all the time. Like, I'm always itching my nose. It's because I got nose hairs sticking out. You get rid of them with the weed whacker. Shout out to Manscaped for hooking up the nation. Let's go to number 6 here on my list. It's Grover Stewart from the Indianapolis Colts. And this might be a buy low type of dude that really starts getting a little bit more popular in NFL circles. Now, Stewart this past season didn't do too much getting after the quarterback. He's a run stopper. And it kind of makes me remind myself of Jonathan Hankins, because Hankins also was an Indianapolis Colt, comes on over here to the Raiders, but he's a big body guy that doesn't light up the stat sheet, but when he's on the field, he eats up a lot of double teams. And the first 5 names that you see, to me, that you're going to be able to get all of those guys for probably $12.5, $13 million per year or less. Every single other name from here on out is going to be a little bit more than that. But as far as I'm concerned, you got to either spend some money on 2 of those guys that I just mentioned, or you're going to go all in and get one of these guys coming up right here. So DJ Reader from the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's done a phenomenal job of basically taking up those double teams. Again, like if I'm Las Vegas, I want to be able to find a defensive tackle that can take on a double team, and then I can get a one-on-one with Maxx Crosby, get a one-on-one with Tyree Wilson, and then get a one-on-one with Malcolm Koonce. Like, that sounds to be a good season. He is coming off an injury, so that is important to keep in mind. But the Bengals, when they were at their best, was when DJ Reader was at his best. And if I want a guy like Nesta Jade Silvera, if I want a dude like Byron Young, another young defensive tackle to be able to step up and really learn, I do think it's easier to learn when it's just one-on-one. And DJ Reader is going to be the one in that interior that demands that respect and ends up taking on that double team, which is going to help out some of these younger players, I think, just get their feet wet. Let's go to number 4 here. It's Leonard Williams. Has bounced around from both New York teams. Then he heads on over to Seattle. And I know that this is a big-time fan favorite, USC, and grew up rooting for the Raiders. I want dudes that want to be Raiders. I want dudes that are willing to play for Antonio Pearson, maybe at a little bit of a discount. And this might be the Raider fan of me talking. But if out of all the teams in the NFL, if Leonard Williams were to take a one-year prove-it deal at a little bit of a discount, I think it would be for the Raiders and for this season. Like, he's got to look at what happened this season for the Raiders defense, right? And yes, he's in a very, very stacked free agent class. Could this be the year that Leonard Williams takes that just team-friendly discount and then go out and make a lot of money the following season? Before I get into my top 3, remember, hit me up, IG, Twitter, stay up to date on all things going on around the Raiders, but especially this week, what's going on in my personal life. I'm out in Paris right now. I would imagine I'm having a good time. Obviously, I filmed this before I went, but I'm excited to be able to take this vacation time for Alex. We do a lot of crazy shit on this show, and my fiance, she absolutely deserves a vacation. Here's the thing, though. If any breaking news happens, go give Jeremy a follow on Twitter. He's going to be the one keeping you guys up to date. So even though that I'm in Paris, you're still going to get live videos and content here. I might just have to Skype in from underneath the Eiffel Tower. Bottom line, give Jeremy a follow. This dude, man, he always puts in the time. Let's go to my next name here. It's Chris Jones. He's going to get over 30 mil. And that's the only reason why he's number 3 on this list. Like, Chris Jones is the best defensive tackle out there. He might be the best defensive tackle in all of football, even better than Aaron Donald right now. But the reason why he's at number 3 is because it's going to be over 30 million. Would I love to steal him from the Chiefs? Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. But at age almost 30, to me, where the Raiders are currently at, I believe that you're going to give a defensive tackle probably a 3-4 year deal. And then you're starting to get into the, still lower 30s, but I would just rather the Raiders, if they're going to give a 3-year deal, a 4-year deal, to give it to the number 1 guy. If there's the reason why number 2 is above number 3, it's because I think he gets a 1-year type of deal. So let's go now with Christian Wilkins. I think he could reunite with Rob Leonard, and he would be a phenomenal fit with this Raiders locker room. And when you talk about a career year, Christian Wilkins is absolutely positively coming off a career year. And I do think, if he wants to get a 3 or 4-year deal, 3 or 4-year deal for Wilkins at $20 million per year, or, Chris Jones at a $3 or $4 million deal, or year deal at $30 million plus. Las Vegas is going to have a difficult decision to make. Luckily, there's a lot of really good DTs this year. Then, number 1, it's Justin Madubuike. If you've watched my show this offseason, you know it's not really too much of a surprise. He's young. He's talented. He's 26 years old. And due to the age and right now where this Raiders defense is based out of, that's why I'm going to roll with Madubuike. He's got a good relationship with Rob Ryan on top of that. This guy can do it all. Get after the quarterback, stop the run, and I'm going based off upside here. If Madubuike, to me, has a better chance of being the next Chris Jones than Christian Wilkins, so that's why he's here at number 1. So who's the number 1 free agent defensive tackle this offseason for the Raiders? Who's the number 1 guy? Are you going to go after Madubuike? Maybe it's Wilkins. Maybe you're like, I want Leonard Williams. Maybe Reeder, Chris Jones. Out of any of the names that I missed, or if there's somebody who I just totally did not put on my list, I want to know the number 1 defensive tackle that you would sign for the Silver and Black. Now, if you made it this far in the video, let's roll through these names one more time here. And if you haven't already, make sure you got those notifications turned on, because outside of a quarterback, if the Raiders end up signing anybody that you see on screen, I've partied a lot here on this show. It might be one of the biggest, baddest freaking parties that I've ever thrown if the Raiders sign one of those big-name defensive tackles. And realistically, man, I don't want you to miss that.